Hey guys, this is Skelly Willy with yet another video. This time we are going to talk about, well, I'm going to answer a question that many have asked me in the past, and to my surprise, on my latest video I received 2 emails from people asking me, hey Skelly, how on earth is your visual in World of Warcraft, so your graphics, so crisp, so clear, so sharp? It is everything that mine is not, and I'm running a 4090. So first of all, my graphics card is a RTX 3070. So it's not high-end, it's at best a middle class graphics card. But that doesn't mean you cannot get really good graphics, that you can get really good FPS, even with a card like mine. So with no further ado, let's step into what I have done. Keep watching to the end because I got a small disclaimer here as well. Because these settings are not from me, this is something I actually took over from another content creator that deserves all credit for me making this video as well. So I'm gonna provide a link to his channel so you can give him a subscription. So the first thing you should do is go to options, go to graphics, and I'm not going into detail. If you want to know the full detail of this, you can click on the link in the description below because you're going to get an in-depth video about this. For me, it's just my settings. Yeah, that was a question, and here is my answer. Monitor is just primary. Display mode is a full screen windowed. Resolution here is my native resolution is 1440 over 3440 over 1440. Yeah. My render scale here, I dragged it down. Normally it will be at 100%. You can drag it down to around 91% without losing any quality, guys. This may sound extremely weird, but why should you do this? To give your graphics card, especially if you are on lower range graphic card like the RTX 3070 that I am running, to give your graphics card a little bit more space to make calculations and stuff like that. Yeah. Use UI scale, that's up to you. If you turn it on, you can drag it to make everything bigger or smaller. Vertical sync disabled. Only enable vertical sync if you see excessive screen tearing on your screen. So when you're moving and you see like lines on your screen, just activate this to help it a little bit. Yeah. Low latency mode, NVIDIA Reflex Plus Boost. Anti-aliasing advanced. Image-based techniques CMAA2. Multi-sampling techniques, color 4x and depth 4x. You don't have to go with the 8x, really not necessary. You will almost see no difference at all. Camera field of view, I have it to max. That's up to you. You can make it smaller or bigger. The lower you drag it, the less you're going to be able to get a field of view, of course. Yeah. So the base game quality, as you can see here, it's not on 10. It's not at max level. This is basically more of a custom made. So my shadow quality is good. If you want to have full FPS and you don't care about shadow, you can go to low, and then the only thing you're going to see instead of shadow is just a small little dot, like a little bit of black shadow here. So that will give you more FPS, like with my settings here on a mid-ranged graphics card. As you can see here in the lower right corner, I got around 42 FPS. That's if I turn off the shadow, that will go up with, let us test it together. Low, apply. Let's see if it makes a difference. It doesn't make a lot of difference, right? See, it goes up like maybe 2 or 3 frames, all depending where you stand. Of course, I'm gonna move a little bit, as you can see here. I am moving around now. I'm gonna get myself a bigger field of view so you can actually see my FPS. There you go. This is a field of view. I got 40 FPS here. If you have a 4090, you're gonna have more, of course. So I always take good. I'm happy with good. So just press apply. As you can see here, my frames are dropping a little bit again. Liquid detail, again, completely up to you. This is the detail of the water. If you want to see it, I'm gonna move to the water really fast for you so you can actually see the difference if you haven't already tested out yourself. Will this make a huge difference on FPS? Depending on where you are, of course, it can. So we are going to move a little bit further into the ocean here. As you can see here, mine is on high. If you put it on a low, as you can see here, my frames are going up to around 70 now. So if I'm gonna turn off the liquid to low, press apply, you're gonna see this. Look at the difference in frames. 130 frames, pretty stable now. If I move, it will drop slightly because it has to render. See, 100 frames, 110 frames. If I'm gonna put my liquid back on to high, look at the difference now. It's half of my frames, just because of the liquid. In my opinion, everything above 30 to 40 frames will run your game pretty smoothly. That's completely up to you. Particle density, put that to ultra. SSAO disabled, depth effects disabled, compute effects disabled, outline mode disabled. You can choose whatever you want, good or high. This is the outline mode on, let us say, quest rewards and stuff like that. That's this. Texture resolution high. Put this on highest because this is really important even if you are in a raid. Spell density essential. Essential only show essential spells. Your own spells are always shown. You're always going to see your own spells. But what does this basically means is if you're in a raid with 20 people and you put on everything, your frames will drop to 10. Depending on your graphics card. Yeah. If you put on essential, that means you're still gonna see all the important spells of your companions, of your friends you're playing with, but you will not see like small spells and so the clutter will be filtered out a little bit. Projected textures enabled. A view distance. This is completely up to you. So the higher you put this, let me see if I can show this to you as well. Look at my frames here. Apply. The difference is not really big. Can make a little bit of difference, but it does not. I'm gonna put it back to 5 where it was for me. As you can see here, I'm gonna press apply. As you can see here, it's almost no difference. Environment detail, this is self-explanatory. More plants, more stuff. Ground clutter, that is something you're gonna have to play around with. This is just when you move. So control the density and the distance at which a ground. I'm gonna move to the grass here. Let's see if I can actually show this to you. So this is the grass. Let me zoom in completely. So environment detail, let me put that. See, I'm gonna put that back to 5. Like where it was. I'm happy with 5. These are my settings. See, a little bit of difference, but almost nothing. Ground clutter is just when you are moving, how fast the ground will show you stuff. Okay, so the next part, the advanced part, this can be slightly important. Triple buffering, just turn that on. Texture filtering 4 times anisotropic. Ray traced disabled. You will not benefit from ray tracing in World of Warcraft when it comes to raiding or when it comes to open world content. Ambient occlusion, put it on Fidelity FX Cacao, CAO. Resample quality is Fidelity FX Super Resolution 1.0. FRS mode disabled. Graphics API at DirectX 11. If you can't run 12, sorry. If you can't run 12, just take 11 or take auto detect. Physics interaction, sorry, none. Graphics card auto detect. Or you can choose, as you can see here, you can choose your RTX 3070. I'm just putting it on auto detect. Max foreground FPS. Like for me, my screen always never go higher than what your actual screen gives you. Like for me, it's a 165 Hertz screen, so I put it at 165 FPS. Max background, that is when I zoom out, my FPS will drop to 30 FPS. Not really important, but pick it. Target FPS. The target FPS this is the lowest I am willing to go with my FPS. If I drop lower than this one, the game will automatically adjust your settings to reach this. It doesn't say it's always gonna be able to reach it, depending on, see, like now, it always tries to stay around that FPS and it will lower your settings on a how do you say it, dynamically way. Yeah. Resample sharpness 0.2. Contrast. This is completely up to you, but contrast is basically changing separating your colors a little bit. So the higher you're gonna put your contrast on is the more your colors will separate them from each other. Like the green here and the gray you see will be way more distinctive from each other. Yeah. Brightness is at 50%. That's up to you as well. And gamma, just fool around with your gamma until you find the sweet spot for your screen and your computer. You can set these 3 settings, can be set on most of your monitor screens as well. But the thing you see here is basically the raw output from the game. Compatibility settings, just leave everything on. So basically, if you follow all these settings, I don't have any add-ons that adjust stuff like that. You will have the exact same image sharpness and maybe even more FPS than I already have, because I don't know what graphics card you have. Maybe it's way better than mine. If it's lower than mine, let us say you're still running on a 10 series, a GTX 10 series, just fiddle around a little bit with the settings. Like with these settings here are very demanding. I'm gonna go back, give me 1 second here. These settings here, these ones here will basically determine most of the times if you're going to get more FPS or not. Like shadow quality, pick low. Liquid detail, pick low. Particle density, I highly suggest keep that one up. But like your shadow quality and your water, I'm going to show the water one more time for people, and sometimes people skip. I go, look at my FPS going like now. I'm running at around 70. Boom. Look at the difference that this one makes. Is it a different color of water? Yes. What will it do? As you can see here, it gives you a very rudimentary form of water, but it will give you double FPS, especially if you're on an open world like I am now. This will not make a huge difference if you are in a dungeon with only a small lake or something, or a small pond. Then it will make no difference, but it can make a huge difference. For me, it doubles my FPS in open worlds when I'm, let us say I'm mining and herbalism. If I turn this off, I'm gonna get way more FPS than without it. Okay, so the disclaimer here is a quasi WoW. I took all my settings, every single one I took over from a video that Quasi made. He goes way more in detail. I wanted to try to keep mine really basic. If you want to see the full guide, I'm gonna leave a link to his channel below. Give the guy a sub. He earns it. He is one of the best, if not the best, content creator around for World of Warcraft. He deserves it. And all credit for these settings go to him. I did not invent the water, he did. Okay, thanks for watching, guys, and see you in my next video. Bye-bye.